just flip-flop song, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings forward alive. Beat you with a fuse you light, you're good, you're dynamite. You made my day when you walked and sat down beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say, what's your name, girl, you're lonely. Can I call you if I ever go down this road? And I can't seem to find the thing.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds worth of sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this 11th day of May 2023. Today's show is brought to you by SeatGeek and SeatGeek.com. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network and the Belly Up Network of shows. Make sure you check out all the great shows on Belly Up and Friends on Spotify, and as well as the website Belly Up Sports for tons of great content there and links to all of the other podcasts on the podcast network inside of things. Thank you for making us a part of your morning each and every morning here on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. And for those who aren't watching on Facebook or YouTube, thanks for following us and listening to us on the podcast throughout the day, as you've been doing for the better part of 2.5 years now. Crazy thing, it's been 2.5 years, and me and Dave are going on to show 301 later on tonight. But anyways, we got ourselves a series in the National Hockey League playoffs for the chase of Lord Stanley's Cup. It's been a while since we've seen one like this, and no, I'm not talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs surviving last night against the Florida Panthers, winning last night in a game that they had to win, obviously down 3-0. But I'm not going to spend much time or any time on that hockey team until they maybe make it to a 3-3 situation. They don't deserve my time, and I hope the people of Toronto don't even go to the game tomorrow night in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena. But enough about the Edmonton Oilers or the Toronto Maple Leafs and Mitchie Marner. We'll talk about Marner at the end of the show. Actually, I got to touch on him a little bit. I'm talking about the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. We got ourselves a slobber knocker of a series. It's all tied up at 2 games apiece now, with the Oilers winning last night in very convincing fashion. 4-1 the final was. They went up 3-0 in the first period, and I thought you were going to see Jonathan Quick get back in the game and bring out his inner 2000, I think it was 2014 self when they won the Stanley Cup with the Los Angeles Kings. I was expecting Quick to go into the net. Now you got you got yourselves a series now with two teams that haven't been looking to win a series and take a stranglehold. You've had a couple 3 blowouts. You had a close game in game 1, but the last 2 games have been blowouts to a man and everything else. But it got a little bit ugly last night. It got a little bit greasy, and that's the kind of playoff hockey that us older guys and people like. I mean, younger people like it too, but it's one of those bring you back to the old Battle of Alberta kind of a series back in the Oilers and Flames days, where there is a little bit of greasiness. There is a little bit of hostility towards each other in the playoffs, and it's nice to see that there are some competitors out there that are making this all happen. You had like I said, the Oilers got out to a 4-0 lead. They gave up the late goal, or the 5 minutes into the third period, they gave up the goal to get rid of Skinner's shutout. But you had some greasiness throughout the game, and I like it to an extent. I don't know how much I like the dirty plays so much, but you like the greasiness and you like the emotion and everything else. And Evander Kane once again was at the center of it, as he was in game 2 in Las Vegas, that he was getting right in the middle of it, doing some things. But the hit on Peter Angelo in the second period, I thought was quite dirty. It looked a lot worse in real time than in slow motion. It could have been quite dangerous, but all things in hockey are quite dangerous. I'm not downplaying the hit whatsoever. It was a push from behind. Whenever you see a guy's numbers, you should hold up. And these players are at the age now where they played with the stop sign on the back. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if it's in the United States as well, but throughout Canada, forever and ever, there's been a stop sign on the back of the jerseys in minor hockey to make sure that, when the opponent sees your back, you're supposed to slow up and not hit a guy from behind. last night you had a push and a shove from the back that Kane did on Pietrangelo, and it was a pretty greasy hit, and all things said and done. And it Jonathan Marsh so took exception to it. Came to his teammates' defense later on in the third period, and they got into a little bit of a fisticuffs, a little bit of pushing match. They both received 10 minute misconducts. But the telling thing for that, for me, was with Evander Kane waiting to see what the call was, sitting on the bench and everything else, and he was smiling and laughing, and he knows that he got underneath the skin of the Vegas Golden Knights, and he did his job to a T 100%. He's kind of become that Super Pest 2.0, more so than like he's a bit greasier, he's a lot tougher than Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins. But you like to see a guy like that with Evander Kane. Yeah, he's had some indiscretions in the past. A lot of things have gone a little bit differently with him throughout his life and throughout his career. But it's good to see that he's getting the Oilers fans and the Oilers players that little boost, that little push from that. I shouldn't say push from behind, but that little shove that the Oilers kind of needed. And they have that kind of a grit and determination with their hockey club that it's a lot more than just Draisaitl and McDavid. Like McDavid got two points last night, and Draisaitl got the one, but they got that secondary scoring last night that you need to have for your hockey team to win 16 games in the National Hockey League playoffs to get to the Stanley Cup. You're not going to have two guys that can carry throughout the entire playoffs. You need an entire team effort, and you need a bunch of guys pushing in the same direction. That's what the Oilers had last night, and you hope to see, if you're an Oilers fan, you hope to see that those guys can keep moving on in that direction. It was not really logical or a thing that was going to happen with the Draisaitl chase of 19 goals. It was NHL playoff record. We thought that maybe he'd have it by last night and everything else, but it's not a possible thing for a guy to keep up that pace, even if you are playing with one of the best players to ever play the game, or actually the best player to ever play the game. Not the greatest, the best. There's a big difference. There's a really big difference between greatest and the best, right? So it's one of those things you see that the Oilers have something going on last night, and it's nice to see a little bit, two teams with some hostility and some bad blood between them. It's going to be it's coming down to a best of three, and no team has really taken a stranglehold on this series. Like there was a blowout in Game 3 where the Oilers came out rather flat, and Vegas took advantage of it wholeheartedly, and they said, you know what, we can beat these guys. We finished the regular season 2 points ahead of these guys. It's not the McDavid show. It's not the Draisaitl show. We got a hockey club here that can do some damage. Jack Eichel had a nice game in Game 3, and you got a Vegas team over there with some winning pedigree as well. Alec Martinez, he's part of those Kings teams as well, and then Jonathan Quick on the bench now. He could probably voice an opinion or two about how to win hockey games. You wonder if you're going to see him go into the net. It's been a while since he's played, but you never know what a guy, lightning in a bottle, and one of those things. You might see Quick getting I don't know if he's going to get the start, but there might be a pretty quick hook coming up for the Vegas Golden Knights in net. Near the end of the game, there's some nasty stuff going on, which I don't condone, but it's fun as a fan to see those kind of things, and the way the emotion of it was all coming up. For those who didn't watch the game, I'll give you a quick recap. Pietrangelo, he's a bit frustrated. Draisaitl was going for an empty net goal last night, and missed the net, and Pietrangelo went over to him, slashed him across the wrist. He went down. Draisaitl went down, and in come Connor McDavid to the rescue. I don't know if that's the smartest idea, having a superstar like that coming to your rescue, but it's nice to see a teammate of Draisaitl's pedigree coming in. McDavid's pedigree coming in to look after Draisaitl a little bit, and he got in the face of Pietrangelo and had one of those situations where he said, you know what, I'm going to get this guy for everything that happened. I'm going to happen here. I don't like it. It was an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of a situation with the Kane hit on Pietrangelo earlier. He's frustrated. Pietrangelo goes back and he slashes Draisaitl across the wrist. I don't think that either should be suspendable. I think that it's kind of just boys will be boys a little bit. Are they hockey plays? No. And that's the reason why you have referees in hockey, because anytime you need a referee, it means there wasn't a hockey play happening. So McDavid's comments after the game calling for suspension of Pietrangelo was a bit off-putting, I guess is the word for me, that, you know what, sometimes you just can't, you don't have a situation there where everything goes right. And that's to a man. Not everything goes right all the time in a hockey game. That's why you have officials out there to keep the peace. And that's the same reason why we have police officers out in the real world because sometimes people do dumb things. I believe that there was a situation last night where Pietrangelo was frustrated. He was mad. He was a little bit ready to go. He was, but the slash, he went and got him. Draisaitl's fine. It's okay. Not a big deal. He actually mouthed to his teammates while he was on the bench. Says, you know what? Don't do anything here. I'm good. Let's not do anything stupid. Let's not get anybody suspended. We need our team moving forward. We need all 20 horses on the ice. The guys that we got going right now. We don't need any penalties, any suspensions, anything stupid. We won this hockey game. Let's move on. And that was the true sign of a leader, I thought. McDavid and Draisaitl being leaders last night, and Pietrangelo sticking up for himself a little bit and being frustrated and saying, you know what? We got ourselves a series here. We got an old slobber knocker going here, some old time hockey. Let's get into it a little bit and let's see the best of three and let's make the best team win. I'm glad that nobody was hurt in the situations last night. You hate to see a guy get hurt in the series be decided with somebody being hurt and everything else. But we have a best of three series now going back to Vegas, 2 out of 3 in Vegas. Both teams have won on the road. So that's where we stand now with that series. I think you're going to see this one go into overtime at Game 7. I think it's going to come down to see if somebody can get a save in that series, how Skinner's going to bounce back. He had a pretty good bounce back game last night. He wasn't overly tested early. The Oilers came out early. I actually showed up to the game. I was on the ball field last night, but it was 2-0 by the time I sat down quick and early, right? So yeah, Skinner wasn't tested early, but he had a game last night where he made all the easy saves, few of the hard ones. That's what you got to do in the National Hockey League playoffs. And you've seen a lot of teams aren't getting playoff goaltending yet, and it's like you wonder when Ottinger in Dallas is going to put something together, because he's been not very good, and the guy who's the best goaltender on paper remaining in the playoffs, you wonder when Ottinger is going to put one together. He better do it tonight, or else that series might be over quick too with the Seattle Kraken. Surprise, surprise. But it's I look forward to these next 3 games with the Oilers. See what Kane's going to do. See if he can still get under the skin of the Vegas Golden Knights, because boys will be boys, and no matter what, if someone pokes you enough, you're going to poke back, right? If you wake up a bear, the bear growls a little bit, and that might happen with the Vegas Golden Knights. It should be interesting that these next 3 games down to best of 3. I think this one's going 7. I think you're going to have a situation where an overtime Game 7 goal, and it might come down to the best player on the planet will take that thing, and maybe have a Edmonton team going to the Western Conference Final for the second time in a row, because they played Colorado and got swept aside last year. But they've been at the dance a few times in the McDavid era in Edmonton. It's going to be good to see. Anyways, we'll talk about the Leafs for a second. They got a win last night. Don't really care a whole bunch. It's 3-1. That series, I think, is still over. I'm not going to give much time to these guys on 14:20 in the morning until they can get it to a 3-3 situation. But it was a bit off-putting yesterday. No, it's 2 days ago. I think it was. Little Mitchie Marner got a little bit butthurt that the media said was questioning him about people's care, and he kind of bit back a little bit, which I do like some emotion. But little Mitchie Marner saying, we don't care what you guys say, we don't care what the people say. Those people are paying your bills, man. Those people are putting money in your pocket, and it's your job as an athlete and as a ambassador to Toronto Maple Leafs and as a Toronto kid to address the media in a proper way. You don't care to an extent, but saying like an apology once in a while wouldn't be too bad from these guys. And I'm not a Marner apologist by any means. I think he's a good hockey player. I don't think he's a great hockey player. He puts up good numbers in the regular season. He had a good night last night with 2 points, I believe it was, in that win. So he bounced back a little bit. But when you're down 3-0 to a team that's you're supposed to beat, maybe keep your mouth shut and say things appropriately. Maybe go get some media training or something, because you were really off-putting the other day. And I hope when you get back to Toronto, the media doesn't hold back on you a little bit, because I think that little yap needs to be a bit of shutting up, and he needs to really think about what he said and how he went about saying things. That's just my rant of the day. That's just my opinion on little Mitchie Marner. But anyways, that's I don't know. It's just a different situation there with the Toronto Maple Leafs and Mitch Marner. But the Oilers series is a slobber knocker. I'm glad that the Oilers are and the Vegas Golden Knights are having some old time hockey. Like I said, the next 3 games are going to be very entertaining, rough and tumble. There's 2 teams right now that haven't really decided anything, being together, having 2 games apiece, and it's been rough and it's been dirty, and there's been a lot of fights. The nurse blowing a kiss is never a good thing. If you ever want to piss somebody off on the ice, you blow a kiss to them. That's an automatic guarantee. If someone's going to be pissed off in that kind of a situation, and there won't be too much love lost or kisses being shared amongst those 2 teams moving forward. So Darnell Nurse probably shouldn't. It's funny, but it's just kind of a bad look, and you might get yourself a punch right in the kisser before this playoff series is up. But it was a lot of fun. It's been a great series so far, and that one is, I think, going to go to 7 games, in my opinion. One of those. It's great. NHL hockey is so great to watch. The playoffs are so great. The second round's been kind of a dud compared to the first round. It always is, but this Vegas one is revitalizing hockey a little bit, and it's going to be a great game 5, 6, and 7. Anyways, what do we got on this day in? What do we got here? On this day in 1996, Al Leiter of the Florida Marlins no-hit the Colorado Rockies in front of 31,549 people at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami in a game that took only 22 hours and 22 minutes. On the way to a no-no, Leiter struck out 6, walking only 2 on 103 pitches, getting only 1 batter over the minimum in the Marlins 11-0 win. Marlins were led offensively by third baseman Terry Pendleton, who went 3 for 4 with 5 RBIs, including a 5th-inning home run off the Rockies' John Haben. So Al Leiter, now he's on some Yankee broadcast. I'll get my Yankee kick in there, right? No matter what we do here at 1420 World Headquarters. Now, Leiter, I like him. His kid's a really good pitcher, too, actually. Was at Vanderbilt for a few years. I can't remember what major league team ended up getting him, but Al Leiter, he's an all-time great. Ex-Blue Jay, too. And happy 40th birthday to Heisman Trophy winner with the USC Trojans, Matt Leinart, born on this day in 1983 in Santa Ana, California. Leinart won the Heisman Trophy in 2004, leading the Trojans to a national championship, going 13-0, including an Orange Bowl victory over Oklahoma, 10th overall. He went 10th overall to Arizona. Not much of a pro career with Matt Leinart, but he's made a lot of money on the back end of things, going to winning some games, not a whole bunch, but Matt Leinart, happy birthday to you. Yeah, James Shaky McPhail, I agree with you. The Leafs fan is cautiously happy. Take it a little bit, give them, you get the win, but really I'm not going to give that one a whole bunch of talk until the Leafs can get to maybe a game 6 situation, maybe a game 7. I don't have much hope for that team. I got no faith in that team. I don't like that team right now. I don't like Mitch Marner right now. I don't like the way he spoke to the media the other day, the whole bit. I think they're a bunch of entitled little pricks, and that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it here at 1420 in the morning. But James Shaky McPhail, maybe we'll get you on the 1420 in the morning when the Leafs are all said and done, and see what happens after game 5 in Toronto on Friday night. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us on 1420 in the morning, each and every morning here on Facebook and on and YouTube Live. Very happy with how the show is going so far. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel when you get a chance. It just helps things with everything we got going on. Also, make sure you guys follow us on wherever we have our where we get your podcast. Make sure you listen to those. Obviously, talk to people about the show. Help us promote this thing and get it out there. Facebook's good, Twitter's good, but word of mouth gets the word out there a lot more. And then just send a message of our podcast just by the magic of the internet. I can get out there really quick. But anyways, thank you once again for joining us on Facebook Live. And remember, everybody, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a good day, folks, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high-five strangers guy, game-winning interception, first down, just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extra berth. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.